What's up, you guys? This is Mike Hall coming at you with Remax Advantage Plus, and I've got Alaina White with me today. I keep wanting to say Erickson. Like, that stuff is hard drived into my brain.
I mean, it's legally still Erickson. It's a lot of work to change.
Listen, it's a ton of work to change your name.
Yeah, and then when you have a business on top of it, it's just...
Yeah, it's just tough. So today we were jamming about things we're going to have a podcast about, and I had shared my ideas for podcasts this week with the group we have on WhatsApp, and I came in, she's like, can we not do something so, like... Depressing
They
and
were
brutal.
so sad.
They're real, but like, that's pretty sad. And so we started jamming a little bit, and we started talking about Alaina was.
Oh, I've had this like weird, I don't know, dream to like start a wedding venue. I've had it for quite a while, and now I'm just in this mode of researching and looking for properties or things that might work for that. And it's kind of cool because I love going through this little research phase.
Yeah. And what got me thinking about this and realized that we need to talk about it is that she started like saying, I should probably stop doing that because it's distracting me. I'm like, well, hold on a second here.
I did do that.
Like, I'm like, that's kind of the square one of how you get what you want is engaging with it when you're not necessarily supposed to. So we figured we would do a podcast on how do you get what you want, whether it be a house to live in, a business to run, a lifestyle, or an investment. Mm-hmm. Like, what are the steps that you actually get what you want? Because we both have experience in actually creating that.
Yeah.
Having an idea, having something that we think is kind of out there in a non-reality, honestly.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself fast forwarded into the future and you have it. So like, what are the things that lead to that? That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get to that, you guys, can you please like, subscribe, comment, share this thing? It means a lot to us. And the more you do that, the more we can do this.
Yes.
So let's do a little story time.
I love stories.
Kind of just demonstrate this, and you're going to be the one telling the story.
Oh, lucky listeners.
So let's talk about your current house.
Yeah.
And what led to that, why you ended up looking at it, and then how did it turn out?
Yeah. Yeah. So for those that don't know, my husband and I bought just under 20 acres a couple years ago. And a couple years back, I turned to my husband and I was like, I want to start a Christmas tree farm. I've always wanted to start one. Getting my Christmas tree is like my favorite time of year. So Jake was crazy enough and he said, yeah, sure. Let's start looking for land. We've always wanted land. We only wanted a couple of acres, but to start a tree farm, you know, you definitely need some tillable land. As soon as
Hold on, let's stop there.
Yeah.
If you guys are courting somebody right now and you haven't already chose your husband, find somebody who will go there with you.
That's
like for
so
real.
true.
You know what I mean? Who's going to get in there with you and not say all the reasons why. And they're just going to be like, all right, let's go.
For sure.
So like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he just agreed. He's fantastic. And we've always wanted land, but this is kind of a way that we were like, well, you know, we can have this kind of dream of mine, but also make our land pay for itself in a way in the future. So when he kind of agreed, yes, let's, you know, start looking for land, I was like, all right, I'm going to go ham. I'm going to do everything I can to get land. So I spent hours in the car driving around the back roads of Carver County.
Straight up, she did this.
Yeah, I did. So much money spent on gas. My car was dirty constantly for someone who doesn't live on land. And I mailed everybody in Carver County with over 20 acres. And I hand wrote a lot of the letters myself, looked on the tax record. I did all of the work myself. And then out of the blue one day.
Yeah, out of the blue.
But no, out of the blue, because I didn't mail the person whose house we bought.
Oh, no.
Like when I talk about like manifesting, like
Yep.
this is that. We own 18 acres. I didn't look at anything under 20. I didn't mail anybody that owned less than 20. And so out of the blue, our sellers called me and they're like, hey, we're thinking about moving, thinking about downsizing, moving to Florida. And I was like, all right, I'll meet you, you know, tomorrow. We'll take a look at your place.
Where did they call you from?
I think she said Google.
Wow. So these things are deeper than you think. Like Google does have the power to connect those dots.
Probably.
Which is crazy. And it goes down to the thing my uncle always says, that he goes, take care of the work and the work will take care of you. And it's not necessarily in the way that you think it will be.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. She called me and, you know, looked at the property, looked at the home. I mean, it's perfect. I will never move from our home because it is everything that we wanted. And I called Jake the second I left, and I was like, you're coming back tomorrow at noon with me. We're going to take a look at it. And then within another day, we sent them a purchase agreement. And then 4 months later, we closed.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I spent months ahead of that just driving around Carver County trying to find what it is that I wanted, mailing people, calling people.
Yep.
I knocked on some doors. Farmers do not like when you knock on their doors.
Some of them do, by the way.
Some of them, not the ones I did.
So the takeaway is like she was engaging in it, right?
Yeah.
Finding it, uncovering it, and then being ready. And then what was it like? Were you ready, like bunch of cash in hand, ready to rip? Or was it more complicated than that?
It was more complicated than that. I mean, we had a house to sell. We maybe could have kept it as a rental, but at the time we had a house to sell and we made it work.
Yep.
You know, we weren't necessarily ready the second that property hit the market, because if it did hit the market, it never did. But, you know, we made it work because it's exactly what we were looking for. And I wasn't going to let timing be a factor whatsoever.
Just make it work.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to talk about my lake home now.
All right. But before we move on to the next piece, like, comment, share, subscribe. Helps us to keep doing this. So
thank you. Please. Please, please.
Please. I was just going to say that, like, especially if you're looking for like a specific type of property, us, acreage, you, lake home, they don't come up often.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of lakes in Minnesota, but if you're specific about what you want, it's not going to come up often.
Yep.
So you have to be ready.
So I just had this happen to me twice this year, okay? I got referred to guys, and they're like, hey, we're looking for a lake home, this price, this lake, these lakes, and send us what you got. I went out there, and I found like 4 options that matched.
Right.
And I'm using my relationships with agents to like, hey, get me in there. I find out about them sooner than later. And I'm like putting myself out there. And every single time they declined to show up with me.
That's just crazy.
And they said, no, like not right now, not right now. No, this one's not perfect. This is not that. This is not this. And then they said, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Like we're going to be like not in there. And I need you guys to know that like you don't have to buy a house, but when you're looking for something, even if it's a 5-year deal with this lake home, I would have loved to have these folks just come and look at these houses with me.
Right.
Because if it's not perfect, that's fine. You learn about the lake, you learn about frontage, you learn about what type of house, you get pricing. It all gets anchored in that, but not showing up and being MIA when somebody shows something up, like it's really brutal.
Yeah, 100%.
It's brutal. And then it straps me from being able to do what I need to do because, man, a lot of lake home sales happen when you uncover stones and one-time showing agreements. And so you're saying, I don't want any of that.
Right. It's hard
That's
because
sad.
if you're willing to put in...
I'm already there.
Yeah, you're already there. You know, you're going to go see it anyways because that's what we do.
Yep.
You know, we go look at the things that
I'm
hit the market.
So like I specialize in small, like not small, like the small lakes around the Southwest Metro. Like we have Lotus Lake, Minnetonka, Waconia. If it hits the market in any of those lakes in the Southwest Metro, like I'm going and visiting anyways.
Right.
Like I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna learn about it, and I'm gonna keep my hand on the pulse of the marketplace. Like you might as well just come with me. Like
100%.
I'm fun to hang out with.
I mean, you're okay.
Probably I'm okay.
Yeah, you're okay.
At least okay.
Yeah.
And that's enough. So let's unwind it to my lake home and how I ended up buying it. So it's been almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And Anne-Marie and I both had been equally yoked on the fact that we wanted to get to the lake someday, right? We're both, when you're lake people, you're just lake people.
Also love that you said the lake someday.
Yes.
Because you had no idea when.
But
you're like, this was a goal.
So we had even said, all right, stop spinning out. Like, let's re-look at this in 2 years. We just had that conversation. Like, let's focus on selling more houses. Let's focus on, we refinanced our house at the time on a 10-year mortgage and just said, fuck it.
Yep.
Let's just pay this thing down. And in 2 years, we'll readjust and reconnect. So we just had that conversation. But I was out there showing lake homes to some consumers of mine. And all of a sudden, I find myself in this property on Lake Waconia that's been I found it off market. Okay. It had been egregiously mismarketed the previous year. And
such a shame too, because it's such an awesome house.
So like we're a direct lakefront, but then across the street, there's this nice pond that's actually acts as a buffer. And this matters, but the pin for where the house was, like when you look on Google and stuff like that, had been placed across the street.
On the pond.
On the pond. So anybody who's looking for lake homes, they see this pin and it looks like it's on the pond.
Oh no.
And not on Lake Waconia. And so when I say egregiously mismarketed, I mean it. Like the amount of showing traffic that you would have lost is like devastating.
Yeah. The first thing that you do is open up the aerial to figure out where it is on a lake.
That's what you do. You even draw pictures around the lake. Like that's how I look for people with lake homes, because you can't filter like lakefront appropriately because people kind of mismanage that. So I draw lines around the lake.
Right.
So I called this listing agent who had failed, which is impossible to fail. A sub $1 million house that was move-in ready.
Yeah.
On Lake Waconia, like going on the market and failing over the whole summer.
Right.
So I called her and I said, hey, I got these buyers who might want to buy this place. Can I go show it? And we did. And the market had already appreciated like 10 to 20% in that year on Lake Waconia. And I showed these folks, and it overwhelms the people I was showing it to, because it was acreage, and the sellers had like way over gardened everything. And so they were like, no, I don't want it. But I'm like going through this thing and going, holy crap.
This is mine.
Like, we want small acreage and we want to be on the lake. Like, dear God, please don't want this. And I was polite, and I serviced them, and I followed up with them. And they finally said, Mike, it's just too much for us. Like, let's go. And we ended up finding a house in Prior Lake on them that was moving, or they actually built something for them. But I called Anne Marie after that showing. I'm like, babe, like,
I found it.
This is ours. And we got to go for it. And so we showed it. I waited for Anne Marie for 2 weeks to like get on board with it, because like husband and wife, we just had a brand new baby and we just settled in our house.
Timing's not right?
And the timing was like honestly terrible if you were to pick a time. And so I waited 2 weeks. She finally said, all right, I'm on board. And she has to be all the way on board, because like I can't move us.
Yeah, no.
And so we write an offer, and it takes us 3 weeks to negotiate, which you know how that is. Like, it's brutal.
Oh yeah.
And we'd thought that we were going to be able to borrow money from family to hit the down payment while we sold our house, because we didn't have like all the cash. And so we get on a contract, and loan officers are like, oh, just kidding, you can't do that. I'm like, fuck, dude. So I needed to come with all this money. And so we just rushed to get our house in the market, and we sell it. And it was literally as tight as when we got to closing. Like, I had to make sure that I paid like a furnace in cash so that it wouldn't hit the settlement statement, like, to qualify. Like, it was that tight.
Oh.
By the way, don't service your furnace just to be nice. Like, I serviced the furnace beforehand, and it got red taped.
Oh no.
Like, as I was just trying to be nice, I'm like, I had Chad, our HVAC guy, come over. Hey, why don't you clean this up for your seller, for our next buyers? And he's like, dude, this is
bad.
Spitting CO2. It's broken. And I'm like, damn it.
Crap.
Yeah, but it was new. It was only 5 years old. But anyway, so like, what I'm trying to say is that none of the pieces were like easy, and it was super hard. And we went from being non-contingent to being contingent, moving on the same day. Closing got all fucked up, but we made it work.
You did make it work. Barely.
I also bought an investment during that escrow.
Yeah.
That's where things like really got messed up.
Yeah. Well, that's a story for another time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, the loan was in pretty good shape. And then I was like, hey, I'm going to spend another $60K on this.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? Just wipe out
literally
any cash flow I have.
I got down to $7,000, which is absurd for like a real estate agent. Like, it's absurd to be that low.
I am cringing at the thought of that, in all reality.
Yeah. And then I had the biggest like month of my career after that. But man, like, it was like brutal. We always pay for things in cash. I remember we got a fence, and I'm like, dude, I can't pay you for the full fence right now. And I had to do installments. Like, it was nuts. Yeah. It was like.
So anyways, talking about like timing wise, everything just kind of.
Like, we just gutted it out and made it work. Right. And now here we are. The lake has gone up 50%. Yep. Since then, we can, like, moving to this would no longer be an option, because like, honestly, you get somewhere right around 7 figures plus or minus 300K, and you're going to be in multiple offers, and there's going to be full cash.
Yep.
So financing it anyway, like, you can do it, but it's a dogfight.
Yeah.
And so we're in a house that we couldn't get today, probably if we even wanted to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Same. Actually, same.
Yep. So that's how that can work out. And let's talk about investments too. Like, we talked about Alaina talking about her property kind of as an investment as well.
Yep. Investment business.
Yeah. But let's talk about rentals. And I have a lot of experience here. And I just shared one with you about like getting something when you're absolutely not ready.
Or when you shouldn't. When you shouldn't.
Quote unquote shouldn't. And doing it anyways. And what I've learned in my life is that when I go and look at investment properties, and just write offers, like I kind of adjust and work it out.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't have to be perfect. And so that's how I've always done it. It's just engaging with it. And you're going to get into a property where you realize the price is too good. You realize there's errors on the seller's behalf, and you realize that there's really good cash flow, and all of a sudden it's just there.
Right.
And you can't help but buy it.
Yes.
And so that's how you do it. Like you just engage with it and just are there ready for it. I don't know how else to say that.
I mean, I don't think most of the time most people aren't just ready, but you have to force yourself to be ready for it.
It's hard because like investing, if we talk about specifically real estate, investing in real estate is extremely expensive and cash intense. Definitely. So you're going to be always like looking for cash here and there, doing refinances, doing all these things to like make it work. You're very rarely going to be like, oh, I've got $400,000. I'll just peel off 60 here and put it there. It's going to be like more like, I got 100 and I got to like maintain my business, and you start putting stuff here, use a line here, and then you kind of cut a piece off and make it work and then refinance and balance it out later.
Right.
Like it's not pretty.
Right. Yeah. You kind of have to focus on still having a safety net while also, okay, well, what cash can I, break off use for it?
Yep. And then you just fearlessly write an offer.
Yeah. And rarely you're going to be ready, like I said, but you just have to put yourself in the position.
Ready is a scale.
Ready is a scale.
Right. So if by ready you mean risk free, you'll never be ready.
Even when we were we sat down with the sellers of our house and signed the offer together. And even then I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I'm ready to put my house on the market. And we had been slowly getting our house ready over this entire course of time. Cause I just knew, I was like, we want to move. I don't know when, but we want to do it. Yep. I'm going to get ready. Even when we were ready, I wasn't ready, but we did it.
You want to know something weird? I was just going to share that everybody gets buyer's remorse. I've never experienced that. Have you?
There's been no remorse at all on my house.
Like after purchase agreement, like you said, you're like, oh my gosh, but like, did you sink?
No.
I wonder what's different about that. Cause I see that in about half of consumers, and I tell them to watch out for the emotional downturn, right? When you get something that you want, the next morning shows up, and oftentimes folks really get hit in the face with like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know if it's buyer remorse or if it's just the fact that the reality set in that like, okay, our life is now going to be changing. Yep. Right. For most people, especially as like a house, right? Like that's your safe space. You can know that you've always come back to there and it's been the same. And now you're just going to pick that up, move it, and you're going to spend more money to do it. Yep. Maybe it's just the reality. So it might not be a buyer's remorse. It might just be kind of like a slap across the face that like, wow, we're doing this.
Even if the thing that you're doing every day is hurting you, we still find a comfort in that.
Right.
That's got to be what it is. Mm-hmm. It's distancing from the comfort. Okay. So I think the takeaway today at a deep level is to like,
just go for it.
Go for it.
Just go for it.
And look at it before you're ready.
Yeah.
Before you're ready.
Yep. I mean, I can't even tell you like how many people I think you and I have both talked to, and they're like, well, we're not ready. We're not ready. And it's like, well, if I send you something, let's just go look at it. You can waste my time.
Like it's fun. Everybody thinks you're wasting your time. You're wasting my time when you call me and say to find this and you don't show up.
Yeah.
That's wasting my time. If you call me, say you're looking for something, I find it and we go and look at it and you say, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you 20 times in a row. That's using my time at a high level. I enjoy it.
Right.
Don't worry. I'm not afraid of pulling my phone out, shooting reels and shooting photos while we're at a showing. Like I'm going to make the best of showing up.
Right. And maybe it's just like a Minnesota thing or a Midwest thing where people are like, well, I don't want to put you out. And it's like, I drive around all the time. I'm constantly looking at houses anyways. I go to a lot of showings by myself to see what's on the market.
Yep.
It's not a waste.
And if you want to like doing a showing with me, I'll do a lap with you. But then you do your own thing and I do my own thing, right? So we'll go together, we'll look at the house, and then I'm going to go down to the kitchen, take pictures and make reels that I want to make. Yeah. And you're going to go relook at the house in a deeper way that's more private for you. And so like, I don't care. I'm going to have a good time. Yeah. Pop my earbuds in. I'll listen to a podcast while you're chilling.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Do you actually? You don't do that?
Yeah. I'm good.
What?
Yeah. I'll be fine. Yeah, I'll just pop one in and listen to something while you guys are doing your thing. I think it's important, and I used to not do this. I used to be like a fly on you. But I realized that like when I look at houses, I want a little bit of time with my wife to just talk and drink it in alone.
That's true.
And so I'll go sit at the kitchen table while you do your thing after I've looked at it with you, which I think is actually very, very important.
That is super important. I've never been and here's the kitchen and here is the laundry room.
Yep.
Like when we're looking at the house, like we'll look at it together. And then if you want to go take another look at the basement or do whatever, I guess I do it the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what earbuds are so awesome, honestly, because you can be there and you pause it.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I do always have my phone out taking photos or
Yeah.
videos or whatever.
Yeah. Where do you think you get the content?
Yeah, that's
if you're
true.
with the right people, like if you're showing houses with me, like we're probably going to be each other's people, which is honestly, I'm everybody's people, like most people's people.
Okay.
So that's what it is, you guys. Like we're talking about, just getting out there, engaging, because honestly, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
And if you want to learn about showings with Alaina and I, check this video down below. Like there's another one, supplement. We got off tracks earlier, but we're going to take that off of this. Like we like
just spitball again. Just keep rolling with it.
Yeah. We like to have fun and show houses with you guys. So let's do it. If you guys are looking to buy, sell, or move, like let's get together.
Let's do it.
And let's do it. And if you're serious about selling, like for Pete's sakes, call us up. Let's get in your house and get it ready to rip.
Yeah. Even if it's not right away, but
Thanks for coming on, Alaina.
Thanks.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.